Right now, as you watch this, Europe is on fire. Not literally, but close enough. Germany hit 41.5 degrees Celsius this summer. That is a new national record, the hottest temperature ever recorded in the country's history. The UK saw 34.8 degrees at Kew Gardens in London in May. That broke the previous record by 2 full degrees. Belgium, France, Ireland, Italy, the Netherlands, Spain, every one of them broke temperature records within weeks of each other. Scientists are calling it one of the most extreme heat events in European history. And here is the number that explains why this heat wave is not just a weather story. It is a business story. 5%. That is the share of UK homes that currently have air conditioning. 5%. In a country that just recorded its hottest May day ever. In the United States, more than 90% of homes have AC. In Europe as a whole, it is around 20%. The gap between what this continent needs right now and what it actually has is one of the clearest business opportunities in the developed world, and most people have no idea it exists. By the end of this video, you will understand how the AC installation business actually makes money, why the people who got certifications 2 years ago are now turning away customers, and why the thing that keeps this business profitable has nothing to do with selling AC units. There is also a dark twist at the end of this story that nobody in the industry wants to talk about. Here is something that genuinely surprises most people when they first hear it. Europe spent roughly a century building homes specifically designed to keep heat in. Thick stone walls, small windows, heavy curtains, insulation pointed firmly in one direction, keeping the cold out in winter. The engineering assumption baked into almost every house on this continent was that the weather outside was the enemy, and the enemy was cold. That assumption is now wrong. European home cross-section, insulation arrows pointing inward, heat trapped inside in summer. The climate has shifted fast enough that the buildings have not caught up. A Victorian terraced house in Manchester, an apartment block in Paris built in the 1970s, a modern new build in Dublin that meets every energy efficiency standard currently on the books. All of them are extraordinarily good at one thing, trapping heat inside once it gets in. And right now, it is getting in. The European AC market was worth $26.5 billion in 2025. By 2034, it is projected to reach $46.4 billion. That is almost double in under a decade, driven by a single forcing factor. The summers are getting hotter, and the buildings were not built for this. Asian manufacturers have already spotted this. Chinese AC exports to the EU and UK reached $1.39 billion in just the first 5 months of 2026 alone, a year-on-year jump of over 20%. The factories making these units are not waiting for Europe to decide whether it needs AC. They already know it does. The question is, who installs them? And that is where the business story gets very interesting. There are 2 ways to make money in the European AC market right now. The first is manufacturing or selling units. That is a game for large companies with supply chains, factories, and capital. Daikin, Mitsubishi, Samsung. They're the ones winning the manufacturing side. If you are watching this as an individual or small business owner, that is not your lane. The second way is installing and servicing AC units. And right now, that's where the real money is being made, by individuals and small businesses across Europe who got into this trade at exactly the right moment. Let's talk numbers. A professionally installed split system, the most common type of residential AC, costs the customer in the UK between £1,500 and £3,000 per room. Want to cool multiple roofs? That is £3,500 to £5,500. A full system with ductwork for a large property averages around £17,000 and can reach £30,000. These are not small purchases, and the installer is not keeping just a slice of that. The gross margin on a residential AC installation runs between 18% and 28%. On a service call, when you come back to maintain a unit you already installed, it is 35% to 50%. On a maintenance contract, where the customer pays you annually to keep their system running, it is 40% to 60%. The industry average net profit margin is around 8%. But the best-run AC businesses, the ones that focus on service and maintenance rather than just installation, are hitting 2 to 3 times that figure. Here is the key insight that separates good AC businesses from great ones. The installation gets you the customer. The annual service contract keeps them paying you forever. Every unit you put on a wall is the start of a long-term revenue relationship. If you are smart enough to ask for the maintenance contract when you finish the job. You cannot legally touch refrigerant in Europe without F-gas certification. It's the government-recognized qualification required to buy refrigerant, service a unit, or complete an AC installation. No exceptions. The EU tightened these rules again in 2025, and training takes time. Right now, there are 80,000 unfilled HVAC technician vacancies across the EU. And in hot markets like the Netherlands, certified engineers' labor rates have jumped 15 to 20% in a single year. Demand is outrunning the qualified workforce, and that barrier protects everyone already inside the trade. For engineers who hold the certification, the diary is full. But here's the problem nobody puts in the brochure. This business is brutally seasonal. Unlike the US, where AC work runs year-round, European demand builds in April, peaks hard from June to August, then fades to almost nothing by November. While fixed costs like the van lease and wages keep running regardless. The businesses that survive solve both sides of that. In summer, instead of chasing every job, they pre-book winter work at 15 to 20% lower day rates. Not charity, just load balancing. In winter, they push maintenance contracts. A 2-hour service call on a quiet Tuesday generates 35 to 50% margin. And increasingly, the smartest ones aren't just AC businesses, they're heat pump businesses. Here's why. A modern split AC unit doesn't just cool. Run it in reverse, and it heats the home in winter. Same box, same refrigerant lines, same compressor. That's a heat pump. And in 2026, it's the hottest product in European home improvement. Germany's Building Energy Act now requires new heating installations to draw at least 65% of their energy from renewable sources, ruling out gas boilers on their own. In the UK, the Boiler Upgrade Scheme hands out a £2,500 grant toward a £5,000 heat pump installation, cutting the customer's cost in half before you even make the pitch. For an F-gas certified engineer, adding heat pumps is barely a stretch, and it turns seasonal income into year-round income. The European HVAC market is projected to grow from €15.72 billion in 2025 to €23.59 billion by 2031. 50% growth in 6 years. So what does it actually cost to get in? This is a van and tools trade. No premises, no lease. F-gas certification alone runs £500 to £1,000. A full HVAC qualification from scratch adds up to £2,000 to £4,000. And 6 to 12 months of training. Tools and equipment, £3,000 to £8,000. A proper van, £15,000 to £30,000. All in, a solo operator can start for roughly £25,000 to £50,000. A fraction of what a restaurant or retail unit demands before the doors even open. Now, the part nobody wants to talk about. Every AC unit running at once puts real strain on the grid. During Germany's May 2026 heatwave, electricity prices jumped 29% in a single day. In Italy, AC-driven demand caused local blackouts. One even forced Florence's Uffizi Museum to close. More units mean more grid strain, higher prices, and a more expensive unit to run, which is exactly why the smartest businesses steer customers toward the most efficient models on the market. Which leads to the harder truth. Over 62,000 people died from heat-related causes across Europe in 2024. And heat waves will only get more frequent and intense. Statistically, this summer may be one of the coolest of the rest of our lives. AC in Europe isn't optional anymore. But traditional units run on fossil fuel electricity feed the very warming that makes them necessary. The answer isn't to stop installing AC. It's to install the most efficient version, paired with renewable power wherever possible. Modern heat pumps run 3 to 4 times more efficiently than older systems, and on solar or wind, they break that loop almost entirely. That's the real shape of this business. It isn't a niche trade. It's a continent-scale retrofit of housing stock that was never built for this climate. And it's a generational job, not a 5-year one. The F-gas certified engineer in the white van is the one actually making it happen. One installation and one maintenance contract at a time. 80,000 certified jobs sit empty. The market is set to nearly double within a decade. The summers keep getting hotter. Someone is going to install air conditioning in all those homes.
That's it for the video, guys. I will see you in the next one.